What up, what up, what up? What's going on, nephews? We on another edition of Ask Your Uncles. This your Uncle Junior. I'm just reaching out today to an old friend of mine, Uncle Gray. How you doing, Uncle Gray?
Uncle Gray's a name. That's right. That's right. Nephews, what's going on out there in America? And I want to say a special shout out and thank you to the hostess with the mostest, Ken Bowder Jr. He on fire. But thanks for reaching out to me, Ken. And
Yeah.
definitely I want to be able to impart some wisdom to the youth out there and just tell my journey. And thanks for giving me the platform.
Yeah, man, had to do it. But like with all the uncles, man, I really don't waste a lot of time getting into the formalities. We just jump right into the content and just dig into the questions. But in order for you to feel comfortable with our nephews, I like my nephews to get a little bit more background and more comfortable with you. So if you could just kind of tell me a little bit about your upbringing, and like what was the dynamic? Did you grow up with just mom and auntie and them, or did you have mom and pop? Like, how did you grow up? And where are you from?
Okay, yeah, I grew up in kind of an all-American household, so I was blessed to have a mom and a father in my house, as well as a sister. I grew up in High Point, North Carolina.
Mhm.
So right now I'm in Curtisville, North Carolina. So really haven't went too far away from the tree. So, but I grew up in High Point. Went to elementary school, middle school, high school. After I graduated high school, went to North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro. So here I am. Like I said, I'm in Curtisville. I got a beautiful daughter, beautiful wife. God's blessed me with plenty in with this life. So, uh, yeah, definitely blessed to be here. Heart still pounding, blood going through the veins.
Yeah,
So here we are.
that's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, and that's all right. That's all right. Sound like you said you had a pretty traditional upbringing, and and with that, you probably ran across a lot of different people. So I wonder, growing up, was there like the dream job or whatever? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up? You know?
I knew when I was a kid that I was definitely has interested in tech,
Hmm.
whether it's computers, um, dismantling old TVs,
Hmm.
looking at the circuit boards.
Yeah.
I knew that's what I wanted to be in this life. I
Mm-hmm.
knew as far as the avenues that was going to take me there, math, science, the same boring stuff your teachers tell you. You know, they tell you that because it's true.
Yeah.
If you want to be engineer, you want to be a barber, you got to take those steps in life as far as reaching your goals. So as I grew up, I knew exactly what I wanted to be in this life. So that's what I do.
Hmm.
What you do is not necessarily who you are at all times.
Right.
That's just a fraction of yourself.
And,
So
and what do you do to that right now?
yeah. So what I do right now is aside from working in my 9 to 5, aside from being a father, being a daughter,
Yeah.
I try to go out and help within the community.
Right.
Any type of stuff I could do as far as helping a neighbor,
Right.
going to the hospital,
Right.
or helping out the homeless,
Yeah.
things of that nature. Anything I could do to help out, And there's always room for improvement.
Right.
Who I am is not who I want to be for the rest of my life. I want to evolve and become a greater person.
Right.
Be a helping hand and just use what I have as far as my time, my effort, any type of financial resources I can to help individuals out.
Right. And so with that, it seems like you took in a great interest in reaching out, possibly being a mentor to people. So I wonder, growing up, like who was your greatest influence? Like who was your
Okay.
greatest mentor?
Oh man, definitely my dad
Mhm.
growing up. My dad, I really learned something about life from my dad as far as work ethic, work
Mhm.
ethic and family.
Mhm.
Work ethic, I saw him day in and day out putting in 12, 15 hours of work
Mhm.
each day.
Mhm.
And I was like, why is he working so much?
Mhm.
And the reason is as a kid, you didn't really understand that okay, things cost in this life, whether
Mhm.
it's food or house, but you don't really understand the extent of what individuals have to sacrifice for in order to get those things.
Mhm.
And and just watching my dad and go through day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's just one half the equation. My mom was definitely
Mm-hmm.
she she fed my soul to a point I could see where she instilled a lot within my heart as far as how I wanted to interact with people.
Right.
So I got that compassion, that love, that yearning to help others through my mom, and definitely,
Right.
I guess the manly side from my dad as far as what it takes to be a man in this world.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I get that. And I get that. And several people could possibly relate to that. And that's kind of what the reason why we're kind of having this conversation. Some kids might feel lost and not know like how to seek out a mentor. Any advice on how to seek out a mentor in case they didn't have that male role model in their family?
Well, I guess as far as if you're lacking a male role model, just go out and join sports activities. That'll be one of the mediums to go to. You may have a coach that, um, he's not only a coach of athletics, he could be a coach of life.
Mm,
So definitely coaches are a great path to being mentored.
mm,
That's, I guess the generic answer would be someone within your local church. So
okay.
that's also another avenue. And aside from coaches, aside from someone in the clergy,
Mm,
um, you know, a lot of things happen in life. You may think it's because of chance or luck, but
mm,
people walk in your life and you had no design reason on how they walked in your life. They just walk in your life,
right.
and you just have to be aware and in tune of all the signs that's out there.
Right.
Someone that's trying to befriend you, don't be such a cynic to that
Mm,
person. You just open yourself up, be vulnerable. That's a lot of things about kids these days, as
mm,
far as when I was a kid or a teenager, we all think that we know it all.
okay.
You know it all. No one can't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And when you have that mindset, you're
Mm.
you're closed in.
Oh
You're
wow.
not you're not willing to listen to anybody.
Mm.
You're not willing to take advice from anyone.
And
So a lot of
would you say you were that kind of kid, like growing up, like if it wasn't your immediate community,
right,
what
right.
could you heed advice like that, or you was like,
Yeah, it's kind of funny, man, because me and my wife Courtney, we had a conversation yesterday. She called me an alpha male, which
okay,
I said okay. I don't look at myself as being one, but
mm,
she gave me some insight on things I'm not seeing as far
mm,
as me personally. I'm not as always receptive to being to taking advice,
okay,
and from me looking through my lens,
mm,
I may be blind to that fact.
no,
And certainly, if I'm blind to that fact now, I was more likely blind to that fact as a kid.
right,
And so I could see myself being, as a kid, definitely being closed minded in a sense to where now I was not always willing or being trustful with other people.
right. And so with that in mind, like, can you remember uh uh, uh so like can you remember a situation where you kind of wish, where you was like, man, I wish somebody showed me this or told me this when I was younger, and I took heed to it, versus you learn it on your own later in life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, throughout life, you know, individuals may say that they don't have regrets.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not one of those individuals. I could say, man, you know what? I should have seized this opportunity.
Mhm.
Definitely when I was in college, there was so many
Mhm.
things taking place, so many activities I could have got into,
Mhm.
that could advance me throughout my college years, and then would have had an impact on me after my college years.
Right.
Just being more active in things.
Mhm.
You know, you can look at certain situations that's going on and say, hey, it's nothing we can do about it, or it's nothing that I can personally do about it.
Right.
And I don't think that's the proper mindset to have as far as to say that's someone else's problem.
Mhm.
How come? How come? Yeah, that's someone else's problem. Someone else can fix it. You
Mhm.
have to be that someone else in this life. And if you see a problem or you
Yeah.
see something that be corrected that you don't agree with it,
Yeah.
be that person to stand up, whether there's some type of injustice happening
Yeah.
or something to better yourself.
Right.
Just take part. Just take part. Be action. Take
Yeah.
action in within what's going on.
And do you feel with that, like you saying that they should be on the lookout? I guess what like John Lewis used to say, be on the lookout for good trouble, to get into. So
Mhm.
I often wonder, like, do you feel like is that the main thing that's missing in the Black community now? And if well, what advice would you give a young man that want to do something to help strengthen the Black community?
Hmm. Um, as far as what endeavor they should take,
Mm,
um, just be available.
mm,
That's the first thing.
mm,
Just be available, whether um, something's taking place in your community. Just be there
yeah,
for one. Show up so you can show out. Is
right,
I guess what you could say. And once you're there,
mm,
things will just start taking place as far as you networking with people
mm,
to whatever is going on within that situation.
mm,
Uh, so just be available.
mm. And like I said, with being the alpha male, and then obviously if you're alpha male now, you was alpha male when way you was younger. So without even knowing it, you portrayed or took it on that role, right? So with that comes that that opinion that maybe you're grown, you're too grown. You were young, but you were grown.
Right.
And so you ask yourself, well, what's that line like? How does a young man know whether or not he's an adult or not? Like when are you when in your opinion is a person an adult versus an adolescent?
Right. I could say from me,
Yeah.
um, in my personal journey, I knew I was an adult once tragedy hits your life,
Mhm.
and you know how to direct yourself out of that adversity.
Mhm.
You know, you can't say it's a certain age. You can't say, oh, for men it's 21, or
Mhm.
for women it's 18.
Mhm.
You you have to go through some sort of a pain in your life
Mhm.
to come out on the other side and say, you know what, I saw what I went through in that pain, or I saw what others went through in that pain,
Mhm.
and now I'm on the other side. I know how to respond to that pain.
Mhm.
Um, for me, it's I guess two I guess milestones. One when my parents got divorced,
Mhm. Mhm.
and two when I got in a car accident. Car
Mhm.
accident. I was down bad, man. I was down. I was out of luck. Car accident, man. I didn't have no money.
Yeah.
Things weren't looking up, man.
Yeah.
And there's one day, um, you know, one day I looked in the mirror and it was some introspection. It's like, man, I'm at a crossroad.
Mhm.
Um, Things ain't looking good financially.
Mhm.
Family is falling apart at the seams.
Mhm.
And I just started crying in the mirror,
Right, right,
just
right.
yeah, boo hooing. So
Yeah, yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, at that point, I knew. I said, okay, things have got to change. I have to make things change.
Mhm.
I have to put positive energy in anything that I touch,
Mhm.
whether it's schoolwork, um, whether it's just working at a job, whether it's Winn Dixie or McDonald's or anything I touch has to put me in the direction that I want to go.
Yeah. No, I can dig it. I can dig it, man. Yeah, like you say,
Mhm.
you just need that catalyst, that's gonna just prepare you just just take off flight.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of why I brought it up, because what we feel now, or what I'm hearing now often is that uh there's a lack of respect in the Black community, and the main gripe is between an adolescent male and an adult figure. You know what I mean? And so I wondered, like, do you sense that there's a discord in the Black community as far as respect from ageisms, or and if so, is it the adults' problem or is it the young man's problem? Like, who's the greater person that's causing the most strain on that relationship?
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely as generations go by, you can see the gap. or the discord between the younger generations and the older generations is widened. I mean, the root of it is based off of family.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you discipline a child young, they'll know they'll fall in line. But as
Right.
far as quote unquote woke younger adult
No.
versus Mr. Gray like myself,
Right. Right.
yeah, definitely I can see from both ends of the spectrum that a younger person, they have that mentality. I know everything. Your time has passed, old timer. This
Mm.
this is a new generation. But
Right.
the more things change, the more they remain the same.
Right.
We saw the same thing. Well, of course, we weren't alive. But same thing that was taking place in the '60s
Right.
took place over the summer,
Right.
2020. So for the younger generation, man, they're the ones. You look at any movement within history, the younger generations, they're the one that's taking the baton. They're the legs to any type of advancement in that community, whether it's social activism,
Right.
fighting for anything. But I would say to answer your question, Ken, about him, to answer your question, I would say, uh, I don't know, man. It's a mutual thing. The older generation, we have to try harder to reach the youth.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get flustered and say, man, I just can't get through this person, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And and then the younger generation might see that and say, hey, this guy's not willing to put in the time,
Right.
and they can interpret that as they're not worthy to have that time invested in them.
Mm.
And that feels like a cold shoulder to them, and therefore they march on the other direction, and won't uh, take heed to what the older person might be saying to them.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well.
so it's a tug of war type thing. Young person gives his or her
Right.
opinion. Older person, they may receive that and they try to counter what that person is saying, and then it's just back and forth, back and forth. Kind of like a mom and a daughter in the same household.
Well, I just asked because uh mainly it seems as though like we as adults, we were taught, a lot of us were taught to, respect your elder, at face value, So
Mm-hmm.
I often wonder, is that, in your opinion, was that wrong of our of our way of thinking? Like, because we carried that over, so we thinking, traditionally, now we're the older ones, they should just respect us at face value. But then I hear arguments saying that's not necessarily correct, so I wanted to go
Right.
ahead and take on that,
Well, me, I'm a base off the Bible, man. You got to
Mhm,
respect the mother and father.
mhm,
So as a kid, um, you know, if this kid, they don't have enough wisdom at that point in their life to know, hey, this is wrong or right.
mhm,
You have to do what your parents tell you.
mhm.
Now, I guess the answer depends on what age group you're talking about. If you're talking about teenagers,
Yeah, let's
you
go
know,
teenagers.
okay, the teenagers, they know they've been on this earth long enough and they experience enough to know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah,
So if your mom or dad is telling you one thing and you know in your heart of hearts that that's not the proper way on how to handle things, or
yeah,
that's not how you should live your life,
yeah,
then you still got to be respectful to your mom and dad. Don't talk back to them.
yeah.
But tell your side, tell your side respectfully, and they'll respect you for it. Just like in any argument, as long as you respect the person that is sitting across the table from you, you can disagree with them, but as long as you tell them respectfully what's on your mind, what's on your heart,
Mm.
um, you know, you'll get better output that way.
What's up? Well, let me ask you this though. Like I said, we covered the fact that who you looked up to and who you kind of admired, but we, let's be honest, man. We grew up, we're the MTV generation. I mean, like we TV kind of took off in our generation. The TV became our
Mhm.
babysitters, right?
Right.
And so, I asked myself, like, well, was there a famous person that you admired that was black, of course, that you admired on TV, or famous, just famous in general. Like, it was anybody that you admired growing up that you was kind of like, wow, what I mean, very,
Mm,
inspired by.
I would say there's two people.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm a basketball nut. So when I was watching TV as a kid, MJ, I
Mm-hmm.
was always inspired by him. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing was the social aspect. As black men or black individuals in general, I guess America has portrayed black men as anyone with darker skin
Mm-hmm.
is the outcast in society.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing this smooth MJ, dark looking brother on his TV, dunking over everybody, being on the commercials, being on the Gatorade commercials, got his own shoes. I was like, oh man, this guy, he's black. Two, he's not Barack Obama black. He's dark as those jerseys in the background. That dude in Kuechly jersey. I was like,
Yeah.
and then America put him on a pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
spotlight him. His talents, of course. His talents generated money,
Mm-hmm.
but that was one person. I said, okay, now I see how America is as far as if you have the talent, you will have a position in the spotlight. Not necessarily the spotlight, but you will be in position of influence.
Mm-hmm.
So he was one, and then I guess I can think of another. Just growing up in school, I always like listening to Mlk speeches and read his biography.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I read into his biography, I'm just in awe of this type of character he had.
Yeah.
Things he had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't scared of going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his family was in jeopardy with multiple bombings of his home.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he knew, and he also knew his demise. He knew he was ultimately going to meet his demise.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone to look into the face of death and knew was coming and still march on the path to help out or advance his people,
Mm-hmm.
I really admired that as a kid.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, on the flip side of that though, so you got the guys you admire, you like, man, man, and just if I could just take a bit of their character, it'll better me and better my community and things and that's more. But what's the character? What's the type of character, type of guy that you was like you did not want to be like? What's
Did
the
not want to be like, are you
yeah.
talking about from a celebrity standpoint
No,
or just
from
in
general, yeah, anybody.
general?
Like what characteristics that you just do not see as like a good quality a man should have? Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I guess one that stands out at the forefront is selfishness. This a person being selfish.
Okay.
That's just a ugly color on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I I guess at the top of the heap will be a person who is deceitful.
Okay.
I did not want to be a deceitful person, and I guess a lot of that came from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He says I can stand many things, many types of people in his life, but one type of person I cannot stand is a liar. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dang, he caught me with the cookies. Dang, that is a lot. So I was like, man, okay. I said, okay. Of course, when you lie, you don't get a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's lied about something, but once you tell that lie, you're like, man, part of my soul just got chipped away. I gotta do some repentance after this.
Yeah.
So being a liar or being a deceitful individual, I didn't want to have that attribute for myself.
Okay. Okay. And I normally would kind of prolong this question, but it ties in the kind of character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're running into this discord in America, and you're seeing it, and it's on the news, it's on every platform available, where there's a disconnect between African Americans and the police department.
Right.
So what advice would you give a young man when he's interacting with a police officer?
Okay. Oh man. I saw a movie recently. Um, oh, dang, I can't think of the name of the movie right now.
Mississippi
Kind of
Burning.
escapes my. No, no.
Time to Kill.
America,
Black History Month.
American Skin,
Okay.
American Skin, American
Yeah,
Skin. Okay, all right.
that's our
Hey,
promo on
nephews
that.
out there, nephews out there. If you haven't seen this movie, nephews, check it out. American Skin. So this movie, it concentrate on this question you just asked, Uncle Junior. So Uncle Junior, within this movie, this father was telling his son, and now his son was highly educated. He's in high school. He was studying constitutional law, and he was reading it that the Constitution was for all men. And he says if he gets pulled over by the cops, he knows his rights. And the black father was saying, "True, you know your rights, but this isn't this. Once you get pulled over by the cops, whether you know your rights or not, they're going to see the color of your skin first. They're not going to see that you're an American. They're not going to see that you're adolescent. They're going to see you as they're going to see the color of your skin, and they're going to view you as a threat." And his father told him, which I agree, if you get pulled over by the cops, first thing you should think about is whether the cop is right or wrong. You need to stay alive. Stay alive. You'll have your day in court if you feel like some injustice has been done. But no need to argue with the cop. This At that point, just comply. Just do whatever he wants you to do. And the name of the game is to stay alive. You want to stay alive past that that encounter that you have. So that's what I would tell my daughter. That's what I'm telling you, nephews. Is if you in that situation, as hard as it is to say, hey, you got you and the wrong officer. I know my rights. Here's that. Officer tries to pull you out the car. You try to resist. Um, we have as much rights as anyone. We are Americans. We're African Americans, but the name of the game is to stay alive. Stay alive. So because you want to be there for whoever's one of your loved ones, mother, father, brother, sister. You got a kid at a young age, so be it. Just gotta stay alive.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And what was the name of that movie again?
American Skin.
That just came out, didn't it?
Yeah, it just came out, man. It was a good movie too.
Okay,
It's
okay.
real good.
I might have checked that out. I might check that out.
Yeah.
But with that, and those encounters, those interaction, man, they're life changing. I'm not gonna lie to anybody, man. Every time you walk away from interaction with a police officer, man, a part of you ain't the same no more.
Right.
And so another issue that's prevalent in our community is mental health. Right? So you know, you know, we got this. We grew up in a toxic masculinity environment. That's what everybody says, right? You grew up around the 80s and the 90s. It was all, man couldn't show nothing. You couldn't have no concerns other than getting money and maybe the side chick.
Yeah.
But but now I ask you, what advice do you give kids in order to handle their frustrations? Like, how do they handle their emotions that and throughout life navigating as a young black man?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you said, man. Being in the 80s and 90s, you go through something and you clam up. You don't talk about it. You take on that stress. I'm here to say that's not the way to go about it. Something happens to you, whether it's at home or something bothering you, and just talk to a buddy. Talk to somebody you can trust. Don't pillow talk with this any old girl. Just talk to a buddy or talk to a friend that you can confide in, and just let them know what's going on in your life. Um, they might pick around with you and call you soft and everything, but man, once that burden is lifted off of you, you're gonna feel so much better. And the last thing you want to do is just implode.
Okay.
If you have so much stresses going on in your life, you don't want to bottle that up.
Mm,
That was me for a while. I
mm,
kind of bottled up some emotions,
mm,
and when when those emotions finally spill over,
mm.
it's like a volcano. So you got you got to know how to harness all that frustration.
Yeah.
Find a hobby. Find a hobby. Yeah,
Oh,
what I'm saying. Find a hobby. Like they say, most people who go berserk in this world, all they need is a girlfriend.
yeah.
Find you a girlfriend. Just don't talk about everything. Find
Oh,
your girlfriend.
hey, well, I'm glad you brought that up because that leads me to my next question. All right, so oftentimes, like I said, you stumble across uh experience and wisdom, right? You don't really just, there's nothing that can prepare you for when you're about to get some wisdom and some knowledge, right? So a
Right.
lot of that happens in like rejection, right? So what would you advise a young man uh on how to handle rejection, especially courting a woman?
Mm. My daughter's sitting right here, so I'll do the short answer. F
Okay.
them. F them.
Yeah.
You gotta let it go, man. If she rejects you,
Mm.
she don't want you.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
that's how it
She
is.
don't want. That's how it is. You want to be with somebody who wants you.
Mm,
If they don't want you, it ain't gonna work. Don't
mm,
try to force it. Don't try to put that that square peg in a round hole. Just
mm,
hey, just chuck it up. That's a loss. Another
mm.
fish out there in the sea. Just and I know it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt to swallow that pill. You gotta mourn. You gotta go through the 5 steps of grieving. You gotta go through them steps.
Yeah.
But you also gotta be real.
Mm,
You gotta be real. This this person has rejected you. I know it's one thing to say, okay, you hear about stories
mm,
about um, a man approaching a woman and she rejects him once, twice, thrice, fourth time.
yeah.
She says okay, and then they live happily ever after.
Right.
That's the fairy tale. That's in the
Yeah.
movies.
Don't have it at all.
that's, that's that's in
Yeah.
the movies. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe back in the day,
Yeah.
but now um no, this move on, man. Let's
Yeah.
move on.
And what about when they're looking for that job, that career? They got that job they really wanted. You know, uh, most kids they thinking that they're gonna get out of high school and life's just gonna be great. Like they're gonna find every job they apply for, they're gonna get. And
Right.
so how do they handle rejection from that school that they didn't get into, or that, or that job that they didn't get? Like how do they handle that rejection?
Right. Well, I guess that's in contrast to a woman.
Mm,
Now we're talking about your dreams,
mhm,
and you should never give up on your dreams.
mm,
You get rejected by that school,
mm,
get rejected by that job.
mm.
That door is closed. There's another door out there. Just like a woman, there's another door out there that's that's evolving for you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, you got to keep going at it. You
Mm,
know, uh, and that pain is only gonna hurt. Getting rejected, getting rejection letters. Stressful. We all got rejection letters, whether for universities or for potential employers. It hurts.
yeah.
It makes I know going through that makes you feel like, man, it makes you question your self worth.
Mm,
But that's just a stumbling block.
mm,
And without being persistent,
mm,
no persistence, no risk it, no biscuit, I suppose. If you
mm,
don't go out there and put yourself out there, if you don't risk exposing yourself, you
mm.
get no biscuit. No risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, bro, on that note, like I say, I gotta keep it short. I wasn't able to go through all my questions, so if you're up for it, I'd love to have you back in a few weeks, and so we
Okay.
can continue the conversation. Uh,
Well,
but
tell me, we run. Oh man, it's almost a quarter till. It seems like we just started talking.
yeah, but I did want to give you uh this time in case if there's anything that you just want to get off your chest and let these, anything you want to pass on to these youngsters right now. I just want to give you that opportunity to say that if you have something on your mind.
Oh man, hey youngsters. One thing they don't teach you about in school is financial literacy. Definitely, financial literacy is key to have in this world. Whether it's you have your nest egg and you want that nest egg to compound to something else. So definitely learn about the stock market, youngsters. So maybe the next podcast I have with Uncle Junior here, Uncle Kenneth Bowden, we can touch on that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my questions. That's why I said we weren't able to get into a lot of things, but I am grateful for what we did get into. And again, like I said, I didn't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do thank you for stopping by and dropping your wisdom. And so, like I say, if you're up for it, we'll have you on in a few weeks. And much love, much respect, and I thank you.
Okay, man. Hey, thanks for hosting and thanks for inviting me, man. And we'll get up another time.
All right, Uncle Gray, everybody.
Okay, all right, nephews. Holla.